Animal transportation, it means how the blood, or sorry, how the animal transport their nutrient to their cell. First of all, we should know the needs for any living thing. For example, if we have unicellular organism like bacteria, protoctista, simply they will take their nutrient and get rid of their wastes by simple diffusion. Okay, because there are simple cells have large surface area to volume ratio. Okay, if this ratio is large, okay, it means this living organisms can exchange their material by simple diffusion. There are other living things which can have that property. No need for gas exchange system, no need for circulatory system. They can exchange their material, nutrient, or wastes by simple diffusion. Like the jellyfish, very simple organism, have large surface area. They can exchange their material, their nutrients, their wastes by diffusion. There is other type of living organisms. They need vascular system. They need vessels which contain fluid, we call it blood, to transport these things inside the body, right? To gain or to get rid of. At the end, still, okay, a transportation is needed to make their cells, right? Obtain their nutrient to get rid of their wastes by diffusion at the end, right? This type of organisms like worms, they have only vessels with fluid to transport nutrient and wastes, okay, into and outside of the cell. Then we will go to a higher level of organisms or more complex organisms, okay, like a fish. The fish has also circulatory system, and that circulatory system with a pump and vessels and blood. Fish has pump, which we call it a heart, which has 2 chambers only. We have, as mammals, heart with 4 chambers. Birds and mammal has heart with 4 chambers, but fish has only 2, 1 atrium and 1 ventricle. It has blood vessels which will go through the gills of these fish and go all over the body and come back to the heart one more time. The chamber which force the blood out of the heart to the gills, it's called ventricle, and the one which receives the blood, okay, tamam, from the body called ventricle. Is it clear? Okay. So if I will show the structure of the fish, tamam, it has gills for exchange of gases, okay, and it has heart with 1 chamber and blood vessels. This fish, if you see, the blood will be forced outside the heart, then it will circulate all over the body, tamam, then it will go back to the heart one more time. This type of circulation, it's called single circulation, or it's a single circulatory system. Why we call it single circulatory system? Why we call it single circulation? Because the heart will be passed or passes through the heart once in one complete circuits, as you see here. Tamam? To be pumped one time to the gills, exchange of gases will happen. Then it will circulate all over the body. Then it will go back to the heart one more time. Okay? Oh, sorry. This is atrium. What about mammals? Or what about us as human? Okay? Actually, Our heart has 4 chambers. تمام? What are these chambers? Atria and ventricles. We have 2 atria and 2 ventricles. 1 atria and 1 ventricle found in the right side, 1 atria and 1 ventricle found in the left side. And the right and left side completely separated by muscular wall called septum. تمام? Okay? طيب. I will draw very simple diagram for the heart. Then I will show you other drawing, but let me simplify it by the drawing first. This middle part is the septum. This is called septum. Okay? And this is the right side. This is the left side. In the right side or left side, there are 2 chambers. Here it will be right atrium, and here right ventricle. And here it will be the left atrium, and here is the left ventricle. And they completely separated by that septum. And of course, there is the pericardium and the wall of the heart. Tamam? And here there are valves between the atria and ventricle. They have a general term which is called atrioventricular valve, or it's called tricuspid valve. And this one called left atrioventricular valve as well, okay? Or it's called bicuspid valve, or in some books called mitral valve. Is it clear? Let me ask you a question. I just said from a while now, there are some living organisms can survive without circulatory system, and may they have circulatory system but without pump, and other will have circulatory system with a pump, which is have or يعني help to have single circulation, and other has a circulatory system with a pump, which is the heart, which has 4 chambers, which have type of circulation called double circulation. Do you have any explanation for that? Anyone, if you can explain first of all, why sometimes we need a pump in the circulatory system, sometimes not. طيب, to make it easier for you, the organisms which have circulatory system without a pump or vessels, simple diffusion is enough for them to take their nutrient and get rid of their wastes. They have large surface area to volume ratio. They have low metabolic rate. What is the meaning of metabolic rate? Their metabolism is slow. So diffusion, actually, it's a slow process. So if the organism not that much active, does not need a lot of energy, right? It's enough to do diffusion for exchange of gases, nutrient, and wastes. That's why if you see these organisms, how they are moving in water, or how their movement, it's slow, not that had much complex systems which need a lot of energy. Compared to us, in 1 minute, we have to breathe at least 12 times. Our heart in 1 minute at least have to pump like 68 times at least. Majority of us 70, 72. If you can explain why heart is needed in some circulatory system, not in others, who can say that? No, you were raising your hand.
Yes, I understood. Thank
No, I'm not asking if you understood or not. I'm asking if you can explain why this circulatory system of a fish and mammals or human have hearts and other organisms maybe don't have. Small surface area to volume ratio. Tamam? Do you imagine your body depends only on diffusion for the oxygen to enter your body cells? I think we can't. It's a very slow process, right? So we need gas exchange system. We need circulatory system, which will make the exchange of gases faster and efficient for the cell to do their metabolic reactions. right? طيب. I'm explaining that because I would like also to know why we don't have single circulatory system, why we have double circulatory system. It could be single circulatory system. Excellent. So if I ask it now, what is the advantage of having double circulatory system over single circulatory system or single circulation? Describe what's going on in each system. Here in the fish, the blood will be pumped out of the heart, tamam? Okay, going to the gills, then it will go out of the gills. I don't know why the thing is, it will go out of the gills to circulate all over the body, then it will come back to the heart. Tamam? So here there is opportunity that the oxygenated blood will be mixed with the oxygenated blood, right? And the blood will be pumped to the gills. And for allowing gas exchange, the pressure inside the gills have to be very low. The blood have to flow slowly to give time for the exchange of gases. Then the blood is getting out of the gills with a low pressure, with a low speed. And it will circulate all over the body, okay? Because of the muscular movement of the fish body, right? Which you squeeze the blood back to the heart. Tamam? Okay? And this is efficient and fine for the fish to have single circulatory system. But for us, actually, it will not work, right? Let me explain now why we cannot have single circulatory system like a fish. I will take that heart one more time, تمام? And I will draw it down to show you the vessels which are associated to that heart, okay? Because our heart associated with blood vessels which used to carry the blood from the heart to the body or carry the blood from the body back to the heart. So the first blood vessel which supposed to carry the blood back to the heart, we can say it is the vena cava. This blood vessel, okay, is called, okay, so this one is called, which carries the blood back to the heart. And I would like you to know that vena cava, it is the vessel which is standing by the heart, parallel to it, like that. The only vessel which, okay, will stand beside the heart in that way, it is the vena cava. Tamam? It carries the blood back to the heart. Tamam? The other blood vessel which carries the blood back to the heart is another one which is pulmonary vein, right? So there are two blood vessels carries the blood back to the heart. We call them veins, vena cava and pulmonary vein. Other two blood vessels will be found here, tamam, called arteries because they carry the blood from the heart to the body. One is called here pulmonary artery, which expected to be branched right and left, and another one which carry the blood from the left ventricle, and this is called aorta. So the one which has two branches, right and left, it's called pulmonary artery, and this is called aorta. And this blood vessel has valves called semi-lunar valves. Okay? So again, the heart is a muscular organ made up of cardiac muscles, contract and relax to pump the blood from the heart to the body. And again, receives the blood back to the heart, right? And again, pump it from the heart to the body. Between that and that, the blood will be changed from deoxygenated blood to oxygenated blood. What does it mean? If I would like to show you another structure of the heart, we can look at that one. Yani, this is a simplified diagram. Okay. Let me show you again the chambers and the septum and the vessels one more time. This part which I will shade it with dark blue, is the septum. What is the septum? It is the muscular wall which separates the right from the left side of the heart. The right side of the heart, okay, it is the opposite of the page. It means, imagine someone is standing in front of you, okay, so his right will be opposite of your right. So always this is the right and this one is the left side. Okay, they completely separated by the septum. ماشي, right? Okay. The one I told you, which is standing beside the heart like that, okay, this is vena cava. And the one which coming from the side like that, it's pulmonary vein. And these two, vena cava and pulmonary vein, carries the blood back to the heart. Another type of vessels, okay, I will shade them with red. This one, which is going to branch it right and left, it is pulmonary artery. And actually it makes sense because there is supposed to have lung in that side and another lung in that side. تمام. If I will go to look at our chest كده, here is trachea, here is trachea, here is one lung, here is another lung, and the heart is here. Our heart is here. So it makes sense if the pulmonary artery will go and branch right and left to pump the blood to the two sides of the lungs. Is it clear? Tamam? And this one, it is the aorta, which is coming out from the left ventricle, and it has like 3 branches because the blood will be forced out from the heart. It will circulate all over the body, so expect it to have many branches. You got my point? One more thing is left in the heart, which are the valves. There are 2 types of valves. There is atrioventricular valve, which between atria and ventricle, we have 2, right and left, here and here. And there is the semilunar valves here and here, okay, which found at the beginning of the 2 arteries. And the 2 arteries which found in our body, which has this valves, are the aortic blood vessel or artery and the pulmonary artery. Even they have that name, we can call it aortic valve, or we can call it pulmonary valve, or the general name which is semilunar valves. Is it clear? Okay. طيب.
Okay.
If I would like to describe how the blood will circulate in the heart, تمام? Okay. Let me simplify it to describe the best way of the heart in one cardiac cycle. First, the blood will come back from the body, deoxygenated, and enter the atria here. Then the blood will go from the atria to the ventricle. Then from the right ventricle, it will be pumped or forced to the pulmonary till it go to the lung. تمام? Exchange of gases will happen. The blood will go out of this lung oxygenated and go back to the heart by pulmonary vein to the left atrium, then to the left ventricle, then it will go again to the aorta or force it out of the heart to the aorta. تمام? If you notice here, okay, the blood coming back from the body and enter the heart, right? And it's forced out of the heart to the pulmonary artery to the lung, then it comes back to the heart. So this is one circulation similar to the one which happened in the fish or not. But this time, instead of coming back to the same side, no, it's pumped or forced out of the right side and it will come back to the left side. Because it has another circulation in the left side, it will enter the left side and it will go out or force it out one more time to the aorta, then all over the body. This circulation, we describe it as double circulation. Why it's called double circulation? If you see here, the blood is going through the heart twice in one complete circuit, in one complete cycle. Agree with me or not? So if I asked you, could you describe or explain or define the word double circulation? Who can answer that question? When the blood passing through the heart twice in one complete circuit. So we have double circulation and the fish has single circulation. I was asking, what are the advantages of having double circulation? Okay, one of you told me, because in double circulation, the oxygenated blood completely separated from the deoxygenated blood. And I completely agree with her. Look at the chart that we have. Look at the blue arrows, dark blue arrows. This is represent the deoxygenated blood. Once it will go the lung and it will go back to the heart, never will be mixed with the deoxygenated blood. خلاص, right? All deoxygenated blood found on the right side and all oxygenated blood found only on the left side. There is any chance to be mixed? No, because the double circulation will not allow that. But in the fish, they are mixed together. Okay, so the first advantage is to separate the deoxygenated blood from the oxygenated blood. Okay, what is the next advantage? I told you, look at our heart. It's here, so close to the heart, lung, right? So when the blood will be forced or pumped to the lung, it will be pumped within lower pressure. So the capillaries will not be damaged or the alveoli will not be affected if the blood pumped into it by high pressure. And you can say, here, the heart is pumping or forcing the blood outside by two different pressures. The circulation, which will go from the heart to the lung, tamam, it will be within lower pressure. Because the lung is so close to the heart, so low pressure is enough to make the blood go from here to here for exchange of gases. So capillary will not be destroyed and alveoli will not be affected. Tamam? But when the blood will be pumped from the left ventricle to the body, it will be forced within very high pressure. So it will be able to circulate all over the body. Do you think the circulation from the heart to your hands, leg, brain, it will be easy? It needs a lot of force, so it will be able to circulate efficiently. You understand me? Okay?
Yes.
Okay, so the next advantage, the blood is pumped within, okay, low pressure from the heart, lower pressure from the heart to the lung, right? So it will not allow the damage of the capillaries and the alveoli, and it will be pumped from the heart to the body within higher pressure, so it will be able to circulate all over the body and reach all body cells. Is it hard? Tamam?
Can you repeat?
Again. So we can write here, what are the advantages? Shall we go to our board? What are the advantages of having double circulatory system over single circulatory system? Who remembers the point that I said? Number one, to separate oxygenated blood from deoxygenated. The blood will be forced to the body within high pressure, so it can circulate efficiently all over the body. To separate oxygenated blood from deoxygenated blood, already we are done from it, this point. Second point, it will be forced out of the heart to the body through the aorta within high pressure, so it can circulate all over the body with that maintained high pressure. Okay. Second point, it will be pumped to the lung within lower pressure to protect the capillary alveoli from being damaged. Is it clear? These are the three advantages of having double circulatory system. You have a doubt regarding that part? First, to have oxygenated from deoxygenated blood. Okay. Second, the blood will be forced outside of the heart all over the body within higher pressure, so it can circulate all over the body efficiently within maintained blood pressure. Second, it will be pumped to the lung with a lower pressure, so the capillary and alveoli will not be destroyed or damaged. Is it clear? Because imagine with me, if we have single circulation, the blood will be pumped to the lung. Exchange of gases will happen. Tamam? Right? So the blood will go out of the lung within zero pressure, within very, very low speed. And it's supposed to circulate all over the body. Then it will go back to the heart. It will not work. It will not be efficient for our metabolic rate. That's why Allah made that blood to go back to the heart one more time. Okay, to be forced within higher pressure and speed. In that case, it will be easy to circulate all over the body within a short time to come back to the heart one more time. You understand? So this double circulation is very important for us as a human because we have very high metabolic rate. So we learned now what are the advantages of having double circulatory system, but I want now also to test you if you know how to label the heart. Can we try? I will put numbers here. Number 1 is aorta. Number 2 is pulmonary artery. Number 3 is pulmonary vein. Number 5 is left atrium. Number 6 here I pointed to, not to the ventricle, I pointed to that one. Tamam. So it is atrioventricular valve or bicuspid valve or mitral valve. Number 10 is septum. Number 9 is right ventricle. Number 8, it's the semilunar lunar valve. Number 7, it's right atrium. Number 4, it's vena cava. You got it? So now we should know what is single circulation definition. What is the definition of double circulation? How to label the parts of the heart and blood vessels associated to it. What is the advantage of having double circulation? Tamam? What are the common questions also which will come regarding to the heart? Okay? Some questions will come to ask you to describe the pathway of the blood in the heart. This is as I did here. Describe the blood flow in the heart. Yani, if I give that part label, I will label it as K and will label that part as M. And I will ask you, please describe the pathway of the blood flow from K to M. Who can answer that question? If there is no contractions, no pumping, no blood circulation, right? So if he says, explain how the blood will flow from K to M, we have to go to think about contraction and relaxation. Yani, simply, if the blood is here in that atrium and it's supposed to go to that ventricle, you know what will happen in the heart? The two atria will be contracted and the two ventricles will be relaxed. Contraction means high blood pressure here and here. Relaxation means low blood pressure here and here. So blood, like any liquid, will move from area of high pressure to the area of low pressure. You understand? So if I would like to describe how the blood will flow from the vena cava to atrium, then from this atrium to that ventricle, I will say the blood in the atrium, then the atrial wall will be contracted. Atrial walls will be contracted. And the ventricular walls will be relaxed. Why is it atrial? Because the two atria contract together and relax together. Yes, our heart is separated by the septum from the right and the left, but at the point of contraction, they are working together. What does it mean? If there is contraction in the right atria, at the same moment, there is contraction in the left atria. Tamam? Atrium. And if there is contraction in the right ventricle, there will be same contraction in the left ventricle. You got my point? So the blood to flow from this atria to ventricle, the atrial walls will be contracted. There will be high blood pressure here, right? And here there will be low blood pressure because there is ventricular relaxation. Okay? And I will go to the point that Sama said, the atrioventricular valves will be opened, and it makes sense because there is high pressure here, low pressure here. So it will press on it to open in that direction to allow the blood to flow from the atria to the ventricle. You got it? Then now the blood to be pumped out of the ventricle to the pulmonary artery or from the ventricle to the aorta, the ventricular walls will be contracted. And the atrial wall will be relaxed, but these valves will be closed. The atrioventricular valves will be closed. Why it will be closed? Because we should not allow the blood to go back from the ventricle to the atria. It can't be. We need the blood to move only in one direction, which is from the atria to the ventricle, from ventricle to the artery. Again, from atria to the ventricle to the arteries. Never go back to the atria. So if there is ventricular systole or contractions, the atrioventricular valve or the bicuspid tricuspid valve will be closed. So no blood will go back to the atria. So the blood will go where? At the same second or part of second, the semilunar valves will be opened here and here, so the blood will flow from the ventricle to the aorta or from the ventricle to the artery, pulmonary artery. You got it? Make stress on that 2 points, then I will come back to your doubt. There are two types of questions regarding that cardiac cycle. Number one, describe the blood flow, and this is safe answered. Number two, describe how the blood will flow. Explain how the blood flows through the heart. In that case, I have to refer to the contractions of the muscular wall of the muscle. If the blood will go from the atria to the ventricle, you have to say like that. The atrial walls are contracted, but ventricular walls are relaxed. The semilunar valves are closed, but the atrioventricular valves are open, so the blood will flow from atria to ventricles. Then the ventricular wall will be contracted. The blood will be forced from the ventricle to the M, which is pulmonary artery or aorta, according to the question, right? And the semilunar valves will be open, atrioventricular valves will be closed. 4 basic things in that answer, it have to be there, have to be covered in your answer. First, you have to say, number one, which wall will be contracted, which wall will be relaxed. Tamam? If I will describe the blood flow from here to here, I will say atrial walls are contracted and ventricular walls are relaxed. So this is the first point. Second point, there will be high blood pressure in atria, low blood pressure in ventricle. So the second point we have to cover is the blood pressure. Which part will have high blood pressure? Which part will have, okay, less blood pressure? So I will say blood pressure is higher in atria or in the atria than the ventricles. Like, what is the second point, which is very important? Always carry one mark in the marking scheme. Which valve is closed, which valve is open, and I have to talk about the two types of valve. So here in that situation, atrioventricular valves will be opened and semilunar valves will be closed. And semilunar valves will be closed. Let's go to the fourth point, which we are driving all of that to say that blood flows from atria to ventricles. You got my point? So I wrote, I have to cover these 4 points to describe why the blood will flow from atria to the ventricle. Okay, can you say your doubts now? One more type of question will come regarding to the heart. Yes, how the heart is adapted to do its function. Yani, it will say why the atrial wall are thinner than the ventricular wall, why the right ventricle has thicker wall than the right ventricle. Actually, both of them have the same answer because it depends what is the force of contraction in that part of the heart. Okay, yani, I will show you another diagram of the heart like this one. I will highlight the wall of the heart. Look at this atrial wall, compare it to the ventricular wall, and compare the right side from the left side. You can see the difference. First of all, atrial wall thinner than the two ventricular walls because the atria only need small contractions to pump the blood from here to here, which is a very short distance, which need very low speed and pressure. You got it? So the atria does not have that much muscles like the ventricles. And if I will compare between the two ventricles, this side is, which is the left side, thicker than the right side. Why? For the same reason. The blood is pumped from the heart to the lung, which is so close to the heart. So it needs less muscle to do less contractions. So the blood will be pumped within lower pressure as it will go for short distance. And in the left ventricle, it has more muscles to pump the blood within higher pressure, so it will be able to move through longer distance, which is systemic circulation. You got it? That's it. So in the answer of this question for the walls of the heart, please, you have to mention the distance and the pressure. Yeah, the distance and the pressure, right? Okay, and we have two circulation, pulmonary circulation from the heart to the lung, and systemic circulation from the lung, from the heart all over the body. I will just show you the type of the question.
Yes.
This is the diagram almost like the one that we labeled and practicing on it, right? They ask you to state the name of the structure, LMO, it's labeling, and most of you did it. Second part, identify the parts or the vessel here. They ask about the vessel, but we did not discuss the vessels yet. Which one has the highest concentration of carbon dioxide, concentration of oxygen, highest pressure? I think you can answer which one has the highest pressure here.
Easy.
Which one? The blood vessel which has the highest pressure is the one which receive the blood ventricle, correct? Because left ventricle has the most, has the wall which has the highest thickness. Which blood vessel have the highest blood pressure? It's J, because it receives the blood from the left ventricle, which have to do strong contraction. Here, see, describe how. If it says describe how, so you have to describe and explain how the blood moved from the heart from blood vessel K to J. Let's see where is K. Let's see where is J. Here is K. And here is J. Okay? So we'll explain or we'll give the answer is the same way that I taught you today. You got it? One more question. Why the wall of the left ventricle is thicker than the wall of the right ventricle? Tamam? Again, the diagram of the heart and labeling one more time. And here they will give you the function of the part. Then you have to write the letter from the diagram and name that part. See, that question is carrying 6 marks. One of you wrote to me in the chat, labeling question carries how many marks? I think it replies your answer, your question. Tamam? And no, this one related to the activity and heart rate and other questions.